say, call her, a Negro, use Negro, but say it in Spanish, okay, well, you get punched in the eye. Logan Wells, that's why you got punched in the eye. And then when...
There's no reason that you shouldn't trust
It's all good. And I have a thing to talking to the camera will be kind of phony for me, so I will really be talking to you like this because, or if you want me, and yes, and do the T, and yes, I can do it. Like, we train our clients to do phony stuff. I can't. It's hard for me. That's why I can't be like a YouTuber.
So I have Kellen Cash. Am I saying that right?
Yeah. Hey.
Kellen Cash here from Seattle. He drove all the way here with his family, and he's the author of London and Sydney.
Explore the World, the Texas edition, and we have many more stories to come.
He's also a social media manager of The Advice Show, which is a huge YouTube channel. And I have him here today because I wanted to talk to him about racism and how it affects us. First question is, we see a lot of racially motivated incidents on TV these days. Can you tell me a little about how it was for you growing up in the United States?
For me, growing up in the United States, it was mixed. I am from Oconda, that's East Oakland, California, and I was born in Oakland and raised in the whole Bay Area, and it was a mix of everybody. So you saw my friends were Mexican, were Tongan, were everything. So it was different. You did see, people later on trying to get into like little skinhead partials and have issues. We always like to fight as young people. So I personally, any type of racial stuff, it would always come out with a KO. And I think I'm still undefeated to this day. I mean, boxing and martial arts was something we just grew up doing until we could go to the shooting range. So we were able to, give it to people however they wanted. But racism impacted me because of my family and members who were biracial, and seeing how they were treated versus how I was treated in certain situations, and even with the police. But again, my life was so privileged at certain points in certain places because my mother, there was issues. We got pulled over just for jaywalking, and it wasn't that we were jaywalking, we were in a crosswalk. There was about 4 or 5 black kids, black mix, black is black, doesn't matter. And the cop pulled us over and said, "You guys come over here, da-da-da-da. Didn't you see the light was red?" I'm like, "No." And even white folks were like, "Leave them alone." And this is like the 90s, whatnot. I know I don't look like it, but it was the 90s. I had the privilege of being able to say, my mother works in that police department across the street. Please take me to jail, or whatever you're threatening me to do. Please, I need to go see my mother, and that those things would actually help, because I could do that all through the Bay Area. My mother was very known, so she knew people all the time, to the point where she didn't wait in line for anything.
Yeah.
So it was privilege all the way around. Like, I could tell you a story privately about I got something that most people have to wait for, and I just got it because my mother was there.
Yeah, it definitely makes a huge difference to have connections.
Yeah.
I was privileged in that way too. We would get stopped by the police in Pakistan where I grew up, and I just collected them what my dad worked to do. So that got us out of a lot of things too.
Yeah. So it's race and your privilege and and what you know and who you know.
That's why I think it's really important for Black people to be in positions of power, so that we can play those parts too.
Yeah.
Take advantage of those privileges. Okay, so you were pulled over a lot, and what kind of fights, like what escalated the fights when you were going on? How would that come around?
I can remember only a couple of them because it seemed like it was every other day. After leaving Oakland, Oakland school districts, and going to school in majority white places where hip-hop wasn't hip-hop the way it is now. Everyone didn't want to be hip-hop. Having a part in your hair was, oh, why do you have that part in your hair? Or who do you think you are? They didn't even have, the certain channels that you could even see black people doing that. So to many white folks, that was odd, you know. And why do you have the high top or this and that or the clothes you're wearing? So the fights would be, you know, stupid stuff like someone trying to call your mother a name in Spanish to the office and everything. He's like, well, I was just speaking Spanish. You'd be like, cállate la boca, maricón, and they wouldn't know what you're saying, right? Because if you want to get it in Spanish or some other languages, we could always go there. But I knew he didn't know Spanish. He was trying to be funny, and you know, okay. So that was one on you.
Yeah.
I was like maybe 12. Yeah. And that still impacts me because you called my mother out of her name.
Yeah.
You know.
So it wasn't just the white kids that you got this racism from Spanish?
Well, no. He was white. He was whiter than white. He was white. He just thought he was being funny because he learned something new. You know, kids learn something new around middle school and they think, let's practice it on somebody.
Yeah.
I was the wrong person. You know, the racism for me was from white folks, some people. Wasn't the majority, but it only takes, you know, one or two bad apples and you're like, you know, you can remember that stuff 30 years later.
Yeah. I've put an effort to learn what black means in every language.
Okay.
From those countries that I lived in. Like I know it in Arabic, I know it in Urdu. And Urdu is similar to Hindi. So it's the same word, kala.
Okay, kala.
So whenever I hear the word kala around me, I always get defensive. But yeah, you pick up those survival skills so that you know, so that they know not to mess with you.
You have to do it. You have to do it as a minority. Now, I don't know if I was in, you know, if I was in Africa or Jamaica or the Caribbean, different place in the Caribbean, it may not have been like that. But at least in America, and even for your situation, you know, being in the Middle East, you have to know. Right?
Yeah.
And I have to know what language is. I'm really good on at least getting greetings, whatnot, because I just like to be able to talk with everybody.
Right. I used to work with children. They're very curious about race and differences. They pick up on, well, her hair is different than mine, her skin color is different. So they're very curious at an early age, and they've already developed their biases and their racism from an early age. So my question is, as a father of two black daughters, how do you maintain their innocence when there's so much racism around?
Well, I'm very protective with my kids. They're with me, you know, besides being in school or elementary school, they're with me. And so parks and all that, it's not like back in the day where you let kids run around. Now, when I go to Africa, I'm going to let myself go. That's going to be my own therapy to be like, hey, I'm in Africa. They're free to be kids again, and I don't have to worry about what I worry about in the States as much. But it's kind of sheltering. I'm very active as far as their teachers and knowing what's going on, because I've seen since kindergarten the agendas they're trying to push onto them, and I'm like, nah, we don't believe like that. Like, that's not us. Others can do this, but we don't believe that just because, you know, I'm raising them as African babies, because that's where I see our future being, in Africa. Africa is the now, if people don't know. I mean, you know, you can believe the propaganda if you want, because some places have conflict. You know, certain pockets in different countries have conflict, but, you know, so does Chicago, so does Oakland, LA, you know. So for me, I'm very comfortable in Africa and other even second and whatever they want to call third world, which is really the first world to me.
Right.
So I shelter them, even what they watch. Before my oldest was born, I spent over $600 in video because I wanted to have educational, you know, video cartoons you can watch that I want you to learn, not what I see others learning. I have siblings who are about 5 to 7 years younger than me, and the cartoons we watch are very different, and it kind of, our personalities are way different, and our interests. I think there's some brainwashing, and there's been studies on like how cartoons have trained kids. I got something different than my siblings, and I can't say that it's better or worse. I can just say I'm more comfortable with the mentality of Bugs Bunny hitting somebody over the head compared to a very sarcastic, you know, character talking back to their parents. Like, who can do that? So, you know, I'm a sheltering father. The older they get, the more I'm gonna have to let go. But I'll see, soon how well I can let go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope more parents are like you, actually. I think Black people need to be very hands-on when it comes to how their children are raised. And I'm happy that you actually go to school to see what their teachers are teaching them.
Well, yeah.
You're every teacher's nightmare, just so you know.
Well, you know what? I've been a substitute way back in the day, to be able to pay the bills. And teachers have a very hard job because unlike police, they don't have a gun. In America, they're trying to, and actually some are getting guns, which is a scary, thought. Because I knew teachers, not where I taught, but I knew teachers that really wanted to carry their guns in Texas. They kept them in their car instead of the classroom. But teachers have been having guns and people don't know about it. They've been hiding them. Teachers have a hard job because parents aren't parenting. And so school really starts at home. And so it's kind of right now where that's the babysitter. And my kids will be homeschooled eventually. Like they'll probably never see even high school because I need to teach you certain things at home. It's gonna combat with what they want to teach, and our values are going to be totally different. And I see more and more. I have a friend, Wes Love, rawimages9.com. That's my neighbor. This man has 9 kids. He homeschooled all of his kids. And he has 2 graduates, one from the Harvard of the South, Grambling State University. That's where my wife and I went. And the other one from the University of Washington. And when I go into his house now, all the kids are on Apple computers. All his younger ones, just on Apples. Just a beautiful sight. Black man, he's a photographer. His wife is an accountant, and they're just typing away. So more and more people I'm meeting who are homeschooling because their schools are crazy, and in the States they're unsafe. I don't know in Canada here if they're shooting up schools.
No.
Thank God.
Not yet, at least.
Okay, no, you guys, Canada, I love Canada. This is my asylum country.
It has its benefits and its downfalls. It's not like the States, but I can see it heading in that direction.
Okay. Did you
Eventually.
notice? We're talking about safety. What this was on my head? This is a body cam. This is what I'm wearing in the States because we can't risk going down the street with
That's amazing.